brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
From the world-famous Blackbird Studios, it's the Rave X podcast. And now, Rave X.
Hey kids, it's your boy, Rock Hard Rave X. Welcome to the show, Rave X podcast number 56, going viral. See what I did there? Because we're in the middle of a viral? Okay, cool. So, I'm from an undisclosed location. I am not at home. I am in my office. There's nothing going on, but we're all just kind of hunkering down in place. Unfortunately, I am what they call an essential employee, if you can believe that. So I have to come to work every day, which is kind of good, man. I get to get out of the house, and see some stuff. The trains are empty. Everything's empty. I just come here and hang out and watch cat videos on YouTube. But, I want to do a podcast in the midst of all this stuff, man, because there's so many different sort of bits of information going around, and really there's only two, right? There's the virus is what it is. It's a horrible virus that came from the wet markets of Wuhan, China. And I almost said Wu-Tang, China. Wuhan, China. And other people think that it's just a big conspiracy, man, that has something to do with 5G cell phone towers, and the virus was just made up. And I was talking to someone earlier today, man. It was really crazy. They were saying that we see on the news that the hospitals in New York are overrun, blah, 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 blah. But then they were saying, and you know what? If you go to these hospitals and you go in there, these hospitals are empty. This is bullshit. And they say we need ventilators. The ventilators are what killing people. And it says in the Bible. My thing is this, with conspiracy theories. When in life have you been in a situation where there was some crazy conspiracy theory that turned out to be true? I'm going to give you a second to think about that. Now, like I was telling my drummer in my band and my guitar player, I'm guessing there was something up with the Kennedy assassination, and that's about it, right? There are people who say that 9/11 was an inside job. They talk about what an idiot George Bush is, and then in the very next breath they go, George Bush masterminded 9/11. What is it? Is he an idiot or is he a mastermind? Because it can't be both. I hear people say, the moon landing was fabricated. They did it in a Hollywood studio. Really, guys? Is this what you're going to do with your life with these conspiracy theories? Now, look, if you can present a compelling case for me, I'll believe it. Like anything, like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster, if you can present to me a compelling case, I will buy into it. But you know what? Sometimes a spade is just a spade, I didn't mean to get racial there for a minute there, but, what are you going to do? It's really crazy to hear how convincing and how well-read and how educated some of these people are, and they would just say that I'm a dumb idiot. And look, let me just tell you my belief. I believe that in China, where they have the wet market, and I've seen video of this, they'll have like a pig's head next to a dead chicken, next to a dead this, and people come along and they poke on the meat to see if it's fresh, and when you buy something, the woman licks her fingers and she grabs a bag and she wraps it in plastic and hands it to you. It's really gross over there. It's really gross. You can just Google China wet markets. They call it the wet market because it's constantly wet with the blood of dead animals, right? Whatever. And yeah, they do eat dogs in China. That's just how it is, And I believe that there was a contamination. I believe one person spread it to 2, who spread it to 4, to 6, to 8, and over and over and over again. And it got around the world in 2 months, man, because the great thing about living in 2020, you can get from here to England in about 5 hours. The bad thing about living in 2020, you can get from here to England in 5 hours. So whatever disease you have, you can spread it pretty quickly. And I believe, honestly, that is what happened. Now, there was this guy on YouTube, my guitar player, who I like a lot, he's a great guy, sent me this video. And so I watched 80% of it, 90% of it, This guy just goes on about how this virus is bullshit, the COVID-19 virus is bullshit, we're all being fooled, which is fine. You can have that opinion, but this guy is talking about how he was the smartest kid in his class, he studied biological, microbial viruses in whatever, he's worked with this and worked with that. So he gives you this whole thing about how he knows what he's talking about. But really, guys, at the end of the day, I could do a video on YouTube and say that, I was drowning in the river and Superman came and saved me, but he told me to keep it a secret, but I can't keep it a secret anymore. Superman is real. And then I could go into my background. Well, I graduated with honors at this place and that place. Anyone can say anything, guys, for a video, It really, you have to be careful. Like, I knew people who claimed to be martial art experts. Now, look, I've studied a metric ton of martial arts, and I always told people, ask me any question about martial arts, I'll probably be able to give you the right answer. Because I studied it since I was like 14, right? Like 8 different martial arts. But at the same time, anybody can say that. Anybody can do a video claiming to be a kung fu master, and maybe you see them break a board with their hands or whatever. And if you go, oh no, that guy's legit. I saw him break a board. Yeah, you saw him break a board, but you didn't see when he was scoring the board down the middle so it would break easy, Anyway, this guy on YouTube, I don't even want to give you his name. Let's just call him Joe. He goes on to talk about how you can't catch a cold or a virus from person to person, and that viruses don't jump from animals to person, when in fact they do. HIV/AIDS, we know for a fact now, came out of Africa from 2 different monkeys. One of them had virus A, the other one had virus B. Those monkeys got cross-contaminated. It became what we know as AIDS. They were hunting monkeys, and sometimes in those parts of the world, they eat monkeys. They call it bushmeat. That's right, they call it bushmeat because monkey meat sounds horrible, right? And it got infected, and someone took it back to America, and that person gave it to this person and gave it to that person. So we know that viruses and bugs and horrible stuff can cross from animals to human, like rabies. You can catch rabies from a dog. It's a fact. So this guy on YouTube, Joe, is talking about that viruses don't spread between people and that the only way that you can catch a virus is if someone injects you with it. And then I'll tell you when I checked out, right when I cut it off, when he said, so how can you protect yourself from this? Well, for one thing, don't get a flu shot. Don't get a flu shot. So what you're saying, Joe, is the 1 million cases confirmed COVID-19 in the world and the 50,000 deaths. In order for his logic to be true, which is how you can easily debunk people that are kind of crazy like this, you can always use their own logic against them, and that usually shuts them up. Well, it doesn't shut them up, but that will debunk them, period, end of story. So in order for this guy's logic to be true, you're saying that all 1 million people, 1 million people, you're saying that all 1 million people who came down with the COVID-19 got the flu shot if viruses can't be passed between people. Now, this is all over the world. You think they're getting a goddamn flu shot in Pakistan? What about Italy? Flu shots are kind of like a Western thing, like Canada, America, England, they kind of get flu shots. No one's getting a goddamn flu shot in, Uganda. It's just not like a thing, right? I'm sure you can get one if you hunt it down and look for it. But it really is insane. It's like I said earlier, people who say George Bush is the biggest idiot the world's ever seen, and then they tell you he masterminded 9/11. So either COVID-19 is a really bad strain of flu that came about from an animal, which I totally believe, or it's a government conspiracy and viruses can't be passed between human beings, which I think we all know is bullshit because I've caught people's colds. I dated this girl, and she didn't dress appropriately for the winter, and she was always catching colds. Now, I didn't know that she was coming down with a cold. I'd go to her house, we'd get it on, get a little bit of that hibbity-dibbity. If you don't know what hibbity-dibbity is, people, I'm talking about jamming the lead. You know, when you're swapping saliva back and forth because you're in a relationship and that's what you do, and then the next day she'd tell me, oh, I'm sick as a dog, I couldn't go to work, and then approximately 3 days later, your boy Rock Hard Rave X is sick as a dog, because viruses cannot live unless they're being passed between humans. They might live on the surface of something for a few hours, but the only way to really catch a virus is from another person. So to anyone who thinks that COVID-19 is just this government hoax, are you willing to let someone with the coronavirus cough in your mouth? No? Well, why not? That's the real tell right there, right? So let's go over a few things. We went over what is COVID-19, how it's spread, person-to-person contact, man, like a cold or a flu. How can you protect yourself? Wash your hands, cover your face, stay away from people. That's true. They're not telling you that to gaslight you. It's the same way that you would not get someone's cold. And you know, I just did a video called, you guys look for it on YouTube, called The Crazy Guy on the Train, How COVID-19 Spreads. I was on the train. I thought I got more footage of it, but I was trying to be on a DL, and I guess I didn't hit record on my phone. This crazy homeless guy gets on a train with about 8 of his other crazy homeless friends, and they're all disshuffled and crazy. They're drunk off Listerine at 9:30 in the morning. And they're all up in each other's face. They're hugging. They're patting each other on the back. They're kissing each other. The guys are kissing the girls. Everyone's missing teeth, and they smell horrible. They get off at one stop. The crazy homeless guy who you'll see in the video starts yelling and singing real loud and then walks off the train. None of them covered their face. None of them are protecting themselves. And if one of them had it, you know what? They all had it. I mean, remember AIDS? Not like it's gone. It's still here. You just don't hear about it as much. AIDS is passed between people through sexual contact and blood transfusions. IV drug users got it. And in Africa, there are places where 30-something% of the population had AIDS because what the government tried to tell them that here is how AIDS is passed between people. They were like, no, it's bullshit. It's a government bullshit. That's not how AIDS passed. And you had people infecting each other, husbands infecting wives. Unfortunately, fathers infecting daughters, people infecting each other. And the population was just rife with AIDS. It's same thing with Ebola. The government tried to tell them, here's how Ebola is spread. It's spread through this way, body fluids don't touch someone. And they said, oh, come on, you are bullshitting us. That is not how Ebola is spread. There's no such thing as Ebola. And I've seen videos where people talk about that, and then that's why you have whole cities and towns with fucking Ebola. We don't want to be like those places. And unfortunately, we've already got 200,000 cases in America with, thousands of deaths already because, it happened quick, man. And that's not our fault. When something happened quick, it takes a while for you to get a hold of it. And I think that our government is doing what we need to do to contain this thing. As far as the guy saying, don't get a flu shot, I've been getting the flu shot for the past 7 years. And let me tell you the only thing that has happened. Are you ready? I didn't get the flu. Spoilers. This distrust in government, look, I don't trust the government anyway, but the government wants people to be alive. Why? Because you can't get taxes from a dead person. And I think that we'd all agree the government wants your money because they don't have money of their own. The government has your money. And when the government starts killing people, has the conspiracy theory people take it, they came up with this coronavirus so that they can keep us at home. And when we're at home, they're going to put up the 5G towers, which is another story. Actually, my band has a really cool song called Death Tower, which is I just think it's a great song, man. Whatever. We'll see what happens. When it comes to all this stuff, I'm like Fox Mulder from the X-Files. I want to believe, but you're going to have to prove it to me a little bit. And when you start rattling off names of this guy and that guy, and this guy's got a video on YouTube, look, I've got videos on YouTube. Does that make me a genius on anything? Jury's still out. Anyway, how long will this last? Well, we got to wait for it to burn out, man. And if people keep going out and coughing each other's face, it's going to last a lot longer. So maybe another couple of months, man. I hope not a year. The crazy viral deniers are going to get people killed. Wash your hands, cover your face. Check out the video I did, man. There's a lot more information on that. The crazy guy on the train. You can find it on YouTube. All of these conspiracies that people have, I don't know. I once posted on Facebook, conspiracy theories help dumb people feel smart. So look, I hope this has been helpful. I have a guy who I'm trying to get on the show. He's very passionate about how this is a conspiracy going all the way to the Vatican. And I like to give those people a voice, man. Plead your case to me. But really, guys, keep this in mind, please. With any conspiracy theory that you can come up with, ask yourself one thing. Why? No one ever asked that question. They tell you, 9/11's an inside job. Spike Lee thinks that George Bush intentionally blew the dams and the levees to drown black people during Hurricane Katrina. Only like 100 and something black people died during Hurricane Katrina. That's still a tragedy, but that's, barely a genocide or barely worth putting your life on the line, because if anyone's ever caught masterminding 9/11 or Hurricane Katrina blowing the dams, you'd probably be executed. Over 100 and something people. So whatever. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, man, because I am at work. I get kind of worked up over this stuff, man, because the only thing conspiracy people do is you're going to get people killed. You're going to get people killed. Accept reality on reality's terms. Not on your term or on that term or whatever, but try to go reality on reality's terms. And sometimes things just what they are. I used to have a friend, and he would always say, Hey, bro, it is what it is. And you know what? He was right 99% of the time. It just is what it is. So, click like, subscribe, check me out on Bandcamp, ravexmusic.bandcamp.com, facebook.com/ravexmusic. That's going to wrap it up for me, kids. And do me a favor. Remember this. Crisis reveals character. My name's Rave X. Enjoy yourself!
That was the Rave X podcast. Be sure to click like and subscribe. For podcasts, new music, and all things Rave X, go to youtube.com and search Rave X Music.